so I can see so I know who I'm speaking to. The infamous, Mrs. Infamous. That would be true, so I know. Haribo from Victoria. Haribo. Yes. Sitting behind two of you. So I know everyone. You're going to put your mask down, I'm going to look at you, you see, and I'm going to see you and film you. Okay, Swasti. Mister. Very nice to see you. Yes. Yes, Haribo. Haribo, Haribo, yes. Haribo. Yes. Yes. In between, in front of Madhya. Let me just see. I've got to make sure you see that the name corresponds to the person, because there's a lot of fraud going on. Imitate other people. Very good. All right. Om Agyanatamarandasya Gananjana Salakaya Chakshanatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapatam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadanti Swamvadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Gita Patakamam Shri Guru Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagarajatam Sagara Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sarvaitam Sadhutam Varijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishagatam Asya He Krishna Karana Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopikanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sridevi Pranamani Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhumayeva Patitanam Pavaneo Vaishnaveyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Rasyacharya Satarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shiva Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaurabhaktarinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we're going to read, this is a verse, it's from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 5, Text 12, but it's also repeated in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. The translations are a bit different. So I'm going to read the translation from the CC because it seems to be more inclusive. So it's chapter 22. Chapter 19 of Madhya Lila is Lord Chaitanya's instructions to Rupa Goswami. And that later was expanded into Bhakti Samhita Sindhu, which was translated in 1970 into the Nectar of Devotion. So Lord Chaitanya, then he met Sanatana Goswami at Prayag, and it's called Sanatana Siksha. What does Sanatana Siksha mean? It could be instructions by Sanatana or instructions to Sanatana. So this is chapter 19, 20, 21, 22, and 23. And this is so important that Prabhupada published in the very early days the TLC, which is Teachings of Lord Chaitanya. So this is before the Chaitanya Charitamrita came out. I remember when it was published in 1975, 17 volumes. And I was here in South Africa and I read it. So this verse is from chapter 22, Process of Devotional Service. I'll just read the Sanskrit. Rahugana itat tapasyanayati na chejaya nivapana guyadava na chandasya naiva jalagni suvya vina mahat ada ajal achekam. O King Rahugana, without taking upon one's head the dust from the lotus feet of a pure devotee, brackets, that's a Mahajan or Mahatma, end of brackets, one cannot attain devotional service. Devotional service is not possible to attain simply by undergoing severe austerities and penances, by gorgeously worshipping the deity, or by strictly following the rules and regulations of the sannyas or grihastha order, nor is it attained by studying the Vedas, or submerging oneself in water, or exposing oneself to fire or the scorching heat. So, purport by Srila Prabhupada. This verse appears in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 12, Text 12. Jadbharat herein tells King Rahugana how he attained the Paramahansa stage. Maharaj Rahugana was the king of Sindhu Salvira, and he had asked Jadbharat how he had attained the Paramahansa stage. The king had called him to carry his palanquin, but when the king heard from the Paramahansa Jadbharat about the supreme philosophy, he expressed surprise, and he asked Jadbharat, how have you attained such great liberation? At that time, Jadbharat informed the king how to become detached from material attraction. So we'll give you a little context. Bharat Maharaj was a famous king, so famous that India is called Bharat. And at that time, the whole world was under the control of India. And the capital of India was Hastinapur. So Hastinapur was basically the capital of the world. So Bharat Maharaj is very famous because India is named after him. I don't know whether it was Treta Yuga or Dwapara Yuga. Anyhow, so Bharat Maharaj at a young age, he gave up his children, wife, and kingdom, and everything that goes with it. Everything goes with the kingdom. All the cars in the garage. You know, the BMWs and the Mercedes. and he engaged in meditation. Now we know the story. He was actually on the stage of Bhav. He's the standard example of a Vaishnava on the stage of Bhav, Bhava Bhakti. Now, Bhava Bhakti is an extremely high stage. Prabhupada is described in English, devotional service in ecstasy. Bhava Bhakti. Yeah. Shraddha, first stage. Then Sadhu Sangha, you associate. Sadhu, then Bhajana Kriya, you start bhajana. You start doing bhajan, you start chanting. Kriya, the activity to do. Then anatama vritti. Impurities are cleansed from the heart, anatta, navritti. Then nishta, what is nishta? Stage of what? Steadiness. So each stage may take a few years or can take a lifetime. Can actually take a lifetime. You can be on nishta for a lifetime. So then after nishta comes ruchi. Ruchi is like genuine attachment. Genuine, no, not the word attachment, no, the word attraction. Genuine taste. Now we have some taste now. Otherwise, why would we be sitting here? Why do we get up early? Tomorrow's Ekadashi. Am I correct? No grains. So it's an austerity. We can't take a puri pata, isn't it? Orange, whatever it is, rotis. So, why do we do this? Because we have some taste. And shortly is Nrsingadev's appearance day. When is that?
Tuesday.
Thursday or Friday?
Tuesday.
Oh, Tuesday, I'm sorry. I'm supposed to go to Lanesia. That's if everything is all right with the COVID. And Tuesday. So we fast till moonrise. So it's an austerity. Of course, you can get up early before the moon rises, before the moon sets. The day starts when the moon sets. So at 3 a.m, you can have a big feast of puri pata and samosas and cheese and aloo sabji. Technically, you can actually do this. But then you'd have it in your stomach. And it would be digested, you see. So that's the argument for not. So we already have some taste, but ruchi is a stronger type of taste. It's stronger. And when ruchi matures, it becomes ashakti, which is called great attachment. So we have some attachment now, but great attachment, something else. Then Shuddha Sattva descends. Shuddha Sattva is the potency of God, or Krishna, comprised of Hladini and Samvid. What is Hladini? Pure pleasure. Samvid, knowledge. Knowledge of Krishna and knowledge of who you are. Who you are. What is your relationship with Krishna? Am I the servant of Krishna? Am I the friend of Krishna? Am I the parent of Krishna like Yasoda? Or am I in conjugal? Staiva, Madhya Ras? Am I a gopi? Is my position Vaikuntha? Is my position Ayodhya like Hanuman? Or the last one is Dwarka. So Shuddha Sattva descends, it comes. It's given. And Shuddha Sattva is a combination of these two, Hladini and Samvid. Hladini means what? Pure, unadulterated pleasure. What we have in this material world is mixed. It's not real pleasure. They take the drug ecstasy, but they're not in ecstasy. Hladini is pure ecstasy. So Hladini combined with Samvid. And this is called Shuddha Sattva. and this descends, and then one is on the stage of Bhav. There are 9 characteristics of the stage of Bhav described in the Nectar of Devotion in chapters 17 and 18. There are 9 distinct characteristics. There has to be these characteristics of the stage of Bhav. So Bharat Maharaj was actually on the stage of Bhav, which means he was not just advanced, but extremely advanced. But even on the stage of Bhav, there is a sniff. What's the word? Ganda. There is a sniff of material desires. One Acharya has said 2%, just to give us an idea. One of the Acharyas has said 2%. So there's always that chance. So Bharat Maharaj was on that stage, and there he was on the bank of the, wherever it was, sacred river, possibly Jamuna. It's not actually mentioned. And somehow he became overly attached to a small deer. You know this. He saw a mother deer running, one tiger was chasing it, and the deer jumped over the river, or attempted to jump over the river, and at that time gave birth to this young foal. We call it a foal. So the foal is floating in the water. And Bharat Maharaj naturally felt some compassion. I think you would also. Isn't it? If you saw some animal drowning, you try to do something. I've noticed since it's become cold, in my bathroom, in the bath, ants come. I don't know why. There's nothing there. So before I take the shower, I have to get the ants and I have to flip them out. I chant Hare Krishna and I flip them out. So I thought, let me create a diversion. So I took a Simply Wonderful, offered to Govardhan Shila, and I put it there. And some of the ants, the pious ones, such a thing as a pious ant, it was nibbling. But the other ants carried on in the bath. I'm bewildered, I don't know. Anyhow, I counted 9 of them. So, obviously I don't want to wash them down the drains. So if it was a deer, or a dog, or a cat. So Bharat Maharaj, his affection came out and he took the foal. Then the foal thought that Bharat Maharaj was its mother and became very attached. And Bharat Maharaj also became very attached to the deer. And actually became overly attached. I think sometimes some of us may have a cat or a dog, become overly attached. There was a man, I Googled this, and he left $12 million in his will for his chicken. Can you imagine? Chicken. $12 million. Then the record is a person in Germany who left $70 million for his German Shepherd dog or Alsatian. 70. Michael Jackson left $2 million, I think, for his monkeys. Yeah. My parents left me nothing. Anyhow, what can you do? If I've been a monkey, if I've been Michael Jackson's monkey, I might have made some money. So Jad Bharat became attached to the deer. Now in the purport, in the Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 12, Text 12, you may want to research this. The last sentence is that Bharat Maharaj made the mistake that when he became attached to the deer, he did not consult his spiritual master for advice. This is his fault. He did not consult his superiors. Diksha Guru, Siksha Guru. Prabhupada writes this at the end of the purport in 5.12.12 of the Bhagavatam. So Then this Bharat Maharaj dies. He's thinking of the deer, and therefore he takes birth as a deer. And this is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Whatever you think of at the time of death, that state you attain without fail. Yam yam vapi smara bhava. Tijam yanti kleva. So now he's a deer, but he was on the stage of Bhav. That's not ordinary. So Krishna says, I always protect my devotees. So he protected this Jad Bharat, this Bharat Maharaj, and he gave him the intelligence and the remembrance of a human being, but the body of a deer. So he's in the body of a deer, but he knows devotional service, he knows Krishna, and he knows he slipped up. There's many a slip between the cup and the lip. He knows. He made a mistake. He was overly attached to this deer, of all funny things to be attached to. So he was very careful about becoming attached again. At some point in his life as a deer, he associated with some saints who were during the month of Chaturmasya, the 4 rainy months. And there were some Bhaktivedantas, advanced devotees, and they stayed in this one place. In Chaturmasya, it rains. So generally, saints stay in one place. Also, when it rains, snakes come out. India has the highest rate of death from snake bites in the world. About 35 to 40 people die every day from snake bite in India. So this deer, he started listening to the Hari Katha, and he became more purified. But he was already on the stage of Bhav. So his Bhav matured, and it became more mature. Then he died, the deer died, and he took birth as this person called Jad Bharat. So his father was very rich and very affectionate. His father was very wealthy, I think possibly a king. But then in India you have many like sub-kings, and then you have the emperor who's in charge of all the kings. So anyhow, Jad Bharat wanted to be careful that he didn't fall into the same trap of becoming overly attached to his father and brothers. Neither did he want them to become attached to him. So he fooled everyone. And how did he fool everyone? He pretended to be stupid. That's how he did it. So he pretended to be deaf and dumb. Can you imagine keeping that up like years and years and years? Can you imagine that? I can imagine it, because years ago I was in South Africa and I was illegal, because I'm an illegal person anyhow. So my passport had expired, my visa had expired. I was what is called one of those illegal immigrants. And I had to go to the British Embassy to to get a new passport. But I didn't know whether the British Embassy were in cohorts with the South African Embassy and South African immigration. I had no idea whether they would be giving each other information. So our famous trick was to take the passport, and then on the page on the passport where you have your visa, it's stamped. So my visa was like 1 year over expired. Gone, finished. So you take that page and you put it under the tap and you wash it. And you wash all the ink out. So it's all wrinkled. So you can't actually read the visa. You can't read the date. But the passport is sort of destroyed. So I had to go for a new passport. So I didn't know what to do. So I thought, let me pretend to be stupid, mentally retarded. It's not very difficult for me. Let me pretend. So if they ask me some question, I can give them some weird answer. So I went into the counter of the British Embassy with my disused, wrinkled up passport with the idea of getting a new passport. But they wouldn't look at the visa because the visa page had disintegrated, and that caused the whole passport to be renewed. And I started going, because my hat didn't fall off. Then the lady called me over to the counter and she asked me, so I pretended not to hear. She asked me again, I also pretended not to hear. And she asked me like a third time, and then she said, all right, now fill this form out. So I took the pen, I went, like I was mentally retarded. So I practiced it. I had to practice it in front of the mirror, just to get my passport. So then they put me on the dangerous list, because every year my passport was always washed. So after losing your passport 2 or 3 times, they put you on the danger list. Then, of course, we got caught by the South African immigration in 1982. And then after that, everything became legal. So now I am legal. Just in case you're thinking of writing me now. I am legal. Totally legal. So is Bhakti Chaitanya Maharaj. Completely legal citizens of this material world. So Jad Bharat, he pretended to be stupid, and his father gave up with him. Some of the things he would do is his father would teach him, look, before you do the offering of the puja, you wash your hands. So he would purposely wash his hands after he had done it. And anyhow, Jad Bharat in the end, well, a little bit more Leela. I wanted to get into philosophy, but he was, his brothers misused him. They rejected him, and he was put in charge of policing or guarding the cornfield at night from wild animals like foxes. And at that time, some gundas. Now, you know what is this word gunda? You get them in South Africa, Chatsworth and Phoenix. Gundas, dacoits, villains, mafia. They wanted the chief of the mafia, or the gundas, he wanted to sacrifice Kali, Bhadra Kali. And the best sacrifice is obviously human being, not a chicken. Or not bakri, not goat, but human being. So they were looking and they found him and they thought, good person to sacrifice. And I'm cutting a long story short. They took him, they washed him, they put ointments on him and this and that. They put him in front of the altar of Bhadrakali. And were about to sacrifice him. Then just at that moment, Kali herself came out of the deity and protected Jad Bharat. Protected him. And actually killed all of her own devotees. Now, why I'm telling this story is because when Srila Bhaktisiddhanta went to Kurukshetra, there's a deity of Kali there in Kurukshetra, and he said, this is the same Kali that Jad Bharat was sacrificed in front of. It's amazing. The same. He also met, this is just other information, he also met he said that at Kurukshetra there was a great devotee His name was Jagannath, and he's listed in the associates of Gadadhar Pandit. And Lord Chaitanya went to Kurukshetra and discussed with him Vrindavan Bhakti, Raja Bhakti. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta said, this Jagannath will later take birth as Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj. It's interesting, that Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, who's in our line. He's in our line. So, the king is asking Jad Bharat how he became so spiritually advanced. And Jad Bharat is saying, Vina Mahat Pada Pajapashekam Abhishek. What is the word Abhishek? We do Abhishek to the deity. What is this? Bathing. We bathe with the 5 substances. What are those 5 substances? Milk? No, it starts off milk, ghee, yogurt, ghee, honey, and sweet water. 5, Panchamrit, Abhishek, when we install the deity. So Vina means without. So without bathing your head in the dust, pada means feet. Without bathing Abhishek in the dust of the lotus feet of Niskinchana. Niskinchana means those devotees who have no material desires. You cannot attain to the platform of devotional service. So then, Jad Bharat says, by all these other methods, it's not possible. And then he gives the example, severe austerities. There are people that engage in severe austerities. I've seen sometimes, in the Kumbh Mela you might see, sometimes people, they're mystics and they take a vow to always keep their hand in the air. And then after some years, the hand goes very thin. And you see the bones and the veins. They keep their hand in the air. Another austerity, I've seen this, standing on one leg. So they put the other leg on a swing, which is from a branch of a tree, and they just stand on one leg. They sleep on one leg. Everything on one leg. Mystics. So severe austerities, great penances. There are people that do this. Great penances. And from this they get Shakti, power. Not devotion, but power. They become very powerful. They get mystic powers. There's 14 planetary systems. Now we're on the Earth planet. Below the Earth planet is a Vitala Loka. Vitala Loka is the next one down. And on that planet there's 96 mystic powers. So there's major mystic powers and minor ones. You know more the major ones. Like making yourself very heavy, making yourself very light, traveling on the beam of a light, on a light, traveling on the light, controlling people. One of my godbrothers, he, in the 1960s and 70s, there was one. He was called Boy Guru. Probably a lot of you weren't born then even. They called him Guru Maharaji. And he was Boy Guru. And Prabhupada told us, I was sitting in the room in Bhaktivedanta Manor when Prabhupada, he was having his massage, and Prabhupada told Shyamasundar, you must take this Boy Guru to court because he's saying he's God, but he's not. I don't think Shyamasundar did it, but Prabhupada was insistent. So in those days, Prabhupada's main thing was this Guru Maharaji. Now he's faded out, he's gone. we found out that actually he never was a boy. He was a middle-aged man that looked like a boy. And he came to South Africa, 1972. He stayed in the same house that we lived in when we first came in La Mercy. La Mercy in Tonga. So we stayed there. And no one ever stayed or slept in the room that he stayed in because we thought that we'd get possessed. I never even went in the room where he stayed. So he was so controversial that the Hindu Mahasabha asked the South African government to get rid of him. Because he would say outrageous things, and he was also very licentious, this Guru Maharaji. So, my godbrother, his name is Narayan. He was one of the main architects. He was initiated like 1968, 69, very early devotee, and very competent, and Prabhupada asked him to design things. So one time he went to when the wife is pregnant, you go to a clinic, and he was sitting with his wife in the clinic, and Guru Maharaji was there. And the devotee was dressed as a devotee. So as soon as he sat there, he felt like someone was trying to control his mind. He felt like this force trying to control his mind, and he had to fight it. This Guru Maharaj, he was trying to control his mind. He had mystic power, certain mystic powers, not full, but certain mystic powers. So on the planet below this one, it's called the Vitala Loka. There's 96 mystic powers. Some mystic powers you may not know about is to live a long time. Another one is to exist without eating. Another one is not to feel the cold. You just don't feel the cold. They're the mystic powers. One is to have charisma. For instance, if there's like 10 people in one room, one person tends to control everything. It could be a lady, it could be a man. If it's a lady, it's an alpha lady. But they control, isn't it? They're like controlling. So that actually is a type of mystic power. Charisma is like a mystic power. Now you can use it to preach, or you can use it to get followers. So this Guru Maharaj and others like him used it actually to get followers. Charisma. So, devotional service is not possible simply by undergoing severe austerities. Severe austerities. I'll give you another example. This really surprised me. I was preaching in Cape Town in 1975, and we were staying on Table Mountain. And there was some boys, they were very keen, they were very interested. And there's one young man, he'd just stay up all night. He wasn't taking drugs, but the austerity of staying up all night, he enjoyed. He just enjoyed it. Surprised me. He'd stay up for 2 nights sometimes. He got a kick out of it. Staying up and not sleeping. So by devotional service, not possible severe austerities and penances, by gorgeously worshipping the deity. So this is referring not to bhakti, but to more official type of worship. Official worship, anusthanaki, external worship, official worship. Or by strictly following the rules and regulations of sannyas or grihastha. Some of the sannyasi rules are very strict. Some of these Mayavadis and followers of Sankaracharya, hardcore Mayavadis, extremely strict. Extremely strict. There was one disciple of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. His name was Ananta Vasudeva. An extremely controversial person, extremely. But in 1937 he took sannyas. From that point on, he never wore shoes. He never rode in a car. He only wore one piece of cloth. Sleep on the floor. No pillow. Lord Chaitanya would not sleep with a pillow. You know that. Lord Chaitanya would not sleep with a mattress. My mattress is so thick I can't even measure it. The Lord Chaitanya wouldn't sleep with a mattress. He wouldn't sleep with a pillow. And Jagannatha Pandit was very disturbed about this. And eventually they came up with an idea, because Lord Chaitanya refused to take a soft mattress. So they took banana leaves and they dried them and they shredded them. And they took some outer cloth of Lord Chaitanya like this. And they tied it together and put inside it the dried banana leaves. And Lord Chaitanya agreed to lie on that. So Lord Chaitanya was very strict. And Raghunath Das Goswami was even stricter. He would sleep 96 minutes a day, sometimes not even that. Take bath 3 times a day in Radhakund, even in the winter. Take every 2 or 3 days some yogurt mixed with water. It's like buttermilk. He would offer his obeisances to the Lord 1,000 times a day. And Dui Sahasra Pranami Nitya. Dui Sahasra Pranami Nitya Vaishnava. Dui Ekdo, 2,000 Sahasra. 2,000 times a day would offer his obeisances to devotees. 2,000. We manage to our guru and Prabhupada, and that's usually about it. 2,000. 2,000. Of course, I think those obeisances were also Manasa. I think it was Manasa. So some sannyasis are very strict. Extremely strict. But not by just becoming a strict sannyasi, that's not, or strict grihastra. Prabhupada gives the example. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, he gave Babaji to one of his disciples and called him Radha Govinda Babaji Maharaj. He was 83. Radha Govinda Babaji Maharaj would not even drink water that wasn't offered to the deity. Here's my water. It's not offered to the deity. But Radha Govinda, Prabhupada writes, would not even, Prabhupada didn't say the name, but I happen to know the name from reading other accounts. It was Radha Govinda. Wouldn't even drink water, that strict. What to speak of, shop bread and Lindt Switzerland chocolate, medium chocolate, dark chocolate. Very strict. But just by being strict, that's not good enough. You need bhakti. So, or by strictly following the rules and regulations of sannyas or grihastra, nor is it attained simply by studying the Vedas. You can study the Vedas. Some of these scholars, they'll study, and I was talking to some Sanskrit scholars, grammarians, that they were ISKCON. See, near my house at Govardhan, Gopi Pranadhana Prabhu was in charge of the Sanskrit school. Actually, they wanted to use my house to teach Sanskrit for the students. So I would talk with some of these Sanskrit students, and they use the phrase, it's in your hand. So that means a verse is in your hand. So we know the verse, Sarvadhamam Prachaja Mamekam Aham Dham Sarvadhamam. They learn it backwards. Each syllable backwards. And then there's the Shrutidar. Whatever you hear, you never forget. Whatever you hear, you never forget. Bhakti Chumaj told me this story, that in the 1800s, the British were running India, and one Brahmin, he was a Shrutidar. Whatever he heard, never forget. And he was doing his ablutions and prayers on the bank of the Ganges, and two Englishmen came nearby, and they started having an argument, and they started quarreling, and it got louder and louder and louder, and it became a physical fight. And then the one person killed the other person. So he was the only witness. So he went to court, British, and he's in court, and the judge said, did you see what happened? And he said, yes, I saw what happened. The one man killed the other. And then the judge said, do you know why he killed the other man? And the Indian Brahmin said, I have no idea whatsoever. So they're about to pass judgment. And then the Brahmin said, but I can repeat word for word what he said. But I don't know English, and I don't know what it means. But I can repeat word for word what he said. So he repeated word for word the argument. Then they understood what it meant. He didn't speak English, but he was a Shrutidar. Do we have any Shrutidars here? Oh, shit. So, because we go around with our cameras and our tape recorders and we record everything, but Shrutidar is sharp memory. Mnemonics. You know what is mnemonics? The art of memory. You can train your mind to remember people's faces, characteristics of their faces, mnemonics. It's a whole science. But a Shrutidar doesn't rely on mnemonics. They just have an ability to remember. Photographic memory. So, let me read again. Devotional service is not possible to simply attain by undergoing severe austerities and penances, by gorgeously worshipping the deity, by strictly following the rules and regulations of sannyas, or grihastha, nor is it attained by studying the Vedas, dry study, academic study, or submerging oneself in water, or exposing oneself to fire, or scorching sunlight. There are people that do this. They submerge themselves in cold water or scorching heat. I saw this the first time I ever went to Vrindavan in Mayapur in 1978. I've been in the movement 5 years. And I went with Tulsi Prabhu, the temple president, very wonderful Vaishnava. He wouldn't let me out of his sight because he was afraid I would defect from South Africa and go to some other country, because people were, what do they call it when they?
Poaching.
Poaching, yeah, the business. So they're out poaching. So they were trying to poach me, like go to some other country and preach. So we went to Barshana. Have you been to Barshana? How many here have been to Barshana? There are many steps. So I was coming down the steps, and I saw this mystic. At least, I think he was a mystic. But usually mystics hide away. So he was on the side of the steps. A little, may have been out of character, but anyhow. And there were 4 fires. And they were cow dung fires. Cow dung burns at a higher temperature. When you cook your biryani from cow dung, it tastes much better. It goes cow dung, then it would go wood. Then it would go probably gas, then coal, and the last one would be a microwave. Microwave, right? So anyhow, this young boy was stirring, and there were 4 fires, and they were burning it with cow dung. And I could smell the cow dung, because it burns at a high temperature, has a certain smell. And he was sitting in front, and the sun was scorching down. And he was like this, long beard. And I thought, wow, it's interesting. And then I went to India again. The second time I went to India was 9 years later. And I went to Barshana, and I saw the same yogi sitting there with the same fires. 9 years later, I saw him there. And walking around Vrindavan also, you do Vrindavan Parikrama. You may have seen sometimes yogis, they put their head in the sand. I don't know if you've ever seen it. They put their head in the sand and the rest of their body is sticking out. And then another one, I see this quite often, is they take the thorn bush and they make a bed out of thorn bush and they lie on it. Yeah, I've seen that. Kusum Sarovar, Govardhan, on the Parikram, you see this. Only on the big days. So they have some type of Shakti, but they're also interested in, I think, some type of Paisa. Not too sure what is their desire. So Bhakti Mama Vijayanti. Bhakti is the only means to attract Krishna, not just austerity. Unfortunately, austerity can make you proud. It can make the heart hard. So one has to be careful of artificial austerity. Artificial austerity. So bhakti is how we attract Krishna. And who are the top devotees of Krishna? The gopis. So they're not engaged in severe austerities, wearing only one cloth. They have jewelry, but it's all for Krishna's pleasure. And they dance, they sing, and they play the sitar and different instruments. These mystic yogis don't do all that stuff. It's a whole different path. And we wouldn't be able to follow it anyhow. It's all beyond us. But bhakti, we can do. Even you have a 5-year-old, 6-year-old child, and you tell the child, now tell me about Vedanta Sutra, tell me about Sudha Kevala Bhakti, tell me about Bahu Ishvara Vada philosophy, tell me about Achinta Beda Beda Tattva, tell me about Ramanuja's Drishta Advaita Vada. Oh, he won't know. And then you ask the 5-year-old child, now stand on your head, stand with your back straight, sit down in a lotus with the legs folded for 24 hours. Can your son do that? But you ask him, take this Mahaprasad, this sweet ball, chant Hare Krishna, jump up and down, easy. Jump up and down. Bhakti is a lot simpler. It's a lot simpler. And all these other types of yoga, mystic yoga, severe penances, not even suitable for ladies. Not even actually suitable. But bhakti, very suitable for ladies. Actually, we find in religion, generally, ladies are more enthusiastic. They're more enthusiastic because it's easier for them to accept a supreme male, God. It's just easier. So they have that devotion, that bhakti. I saw this in Ukraine. I would go to some of the Catholic Ukrainian Orthodox churches, very beautiful churches, and they have deities of Jesus and Mary. And the ladies would come in. We don't have anyone from Russia here. They didn't come. Ushkava. these were the ladies that during the communist time would put cover their heads, and they'd sit outside the flats and they'd look at everyone and where they were going, where they're talking to, and then go to the KGB and tell them. So I saw them coming to the church, and as they come into the church, they take the dust from the steps. And then they bow down. Very devotional, very nice. So let me read the verse again. O King Rahugana, without taking upon one's head the dust from the lotus feet of a pure devotee, the word is niskinchana, which means free from material desires, one cannot attain devotional service. You cannot. Prabhupada said, to read it word for word, but what is it? The introduction. Know for certain. Know for certain. One cannot attain devotional service. Devotional service is bestowed by the blessings of a pure devotee. The fact is, devotional service is bestowed by the blessings of a pure devotee. Sir Mahatma, Sir Dulabaha. Dulabaha means rare, Mahatma. The fact is, devotional service is bestowed. We can see this very clearly. Prabhupada went to America and bestowed. He bestowed. He gave. So the fact is, devotional service is bestowed. It's given by the advanced devotee. So we can pray to Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta, Bhaktivedanta Gopishore, Goswamis, and we can pray to Prabhupada's disciples and grand-disciples that they can bless us and bestow upon us devotional service. There's 64 different types of devotional service. Which is number one? Clearly, number one is simply to chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama. That is number one. All other, Bhaktivedanta Thakur says, the other 64 or 63 types of bhakti are included within the chanting, although you may not see them, although they may not be evident. But we can't chant Krishna's name all day. We have our wives to think about, we have our husbands to think about, isn't it? We have our children to think about, we have COVID-19 to think about. We have politics, the weather, the SARS, so many things to think about that disturb us. And even if we didn't have any of those, we still couldn't. We'd fall asleep. We'd want something to eat. We'd get bored. We don't have that higher taste. But eventually that higher taste will come. Like Haridas Thakur was chanting 3 lakhs every day. So Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Go Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. Would anyone like to ask any questions or add any comments? Please.
How does one get from the stage of Bhajana Kriya to the stage of Anartana Vritti? How does that process happen that one goes from one stage to another?
Just again, how
does one get from one stage to another? Like from the stage of Bhajana Kriya to the stage of Anartana Vritti? And then that's the first part of the question. The other point is, how does one speed up the process of
Speed it up.
and come to the stage of Nishtha.
How do you speed it up? I haven't figured that out yet. I know by mercy these things come. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta said mercy is more important than endeavor. You are all endeavoring. When the alarm clock goes off to rise early, you are all endeavoring. Fasting. You're trying, all of you are trying. But mercy is more important in your life than endeavor. And that mercy will come from Panchatattva, Bhaktivinoda Bhaktisiddhanta, Srila Prabhupada. You cannot even describe in words. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta says that to describe the mercy of Lord Chaitanya is beyond words. You cannot explain even in words. So you're all getting it because you're connecting to Prabhupada, and somehow or other you're trying to help him. Some of you by distributing books or prasadam or maintaining temple or publishing or managing. My godbrother, Bhakti Chaitanya Maharaj, is now chairman of the GBC, intense management. He wrote to me the other day. He sent me a video. He said, I am so busy. I just can't believe how busy I am. So he's busy in the management of the society. Others, Food for Life, Kirtan, deity worship. There's so many aspects. And in this way we're attracting the mercy of Prabhupada because we're all doing it under the shelter of his mission. And we will get mercy, even if we can't see it. We will get and we will advance. We should just have faith in that. And we'll come to that higher stage. So just continue. And don't become impatient. But at the same time, be enthusiastic. It's difficult. How do you balance this? Nectar of Instruction, text number 3. Utsang Nishtadaya. Enthusiasm, confidence, but also patience. So now you tell me, how can you be enthusiastic at the same time patient? Seems to be like a opposite. But in spiritual life, it can be balanced. Enthusiastic at the same time. We're not immaturely enthusiastic. It's done in an intelligent way. Activities enacted in Krishna consciousness are intelligence. So, Utsram Nishtadaya. Be enthusiastic. Be confident that you're going to attain the goal, and we are. Lord Chaitanya has said this in Chaitanya Charitamrita. If you care to look unto Leela chapter 3, text 79, that at the time of Lord Chaitanya, every living entity went back to the spiritual world. Sarva Jiva Jati, every living entity. Stava Jangam. Stava, what does that mean? Stationary. These trees. Jangam, it means the ducks, the mosquitoes, all human beings. And then Sakla Brahmanda Jivera. Jiva means living entity. Sakla means all. But where? In India? No. Throughout the world? More. Throughout this universe. What is Brahmanda? It's the universe, not just Earth. It's the universe. I see on Google, China now landed on the planet of Mars. It's probably some film studio in Peking or Beijing or something. I don't for 1 minute think it looks more like the Karoo Desert. But anyhow, living entities on all the planets in this universe went back when Lord Chaitanya appeared. So we're actively trying to serve Lord Chaitanya, is it not? Sankirtan, preaching, we're trying. We have the deity of Lord Chaitanya, we have a picture of Lord Chaitanya, we chant Panchatattva mantra. So our result, I think, will be that definitely we will go back to Godhead. But that's also in stages. You understand? If you tell your 7-year-old child, go to school and you'll become a High Court judge, it's true. But there are many stages. So Our next destination is actually in Lord Chaitanya's pastimes within this universe. It is the spiritual world, but it's not Goloka Vrindavan, but that's our destination. And there we will have a mixed material and spiritual body. It's called Vastu City. It's all there in the Sastra. There will be some slight contamination, but predominantly it will be spiritual, just like Prabhupada. Spiritual, but still he had toothache. There will be a slight material side to it. It's called Vastu City. And then when that's finished, we take birth in Krishna's pastimes somewhere in the universe, because that's going on right now. Then we go to Goloka Vrindavan, which is our eternal residence. So don't worry, Lokanath. You'll go back and you'll associate with the original Lokanath Goswami. And who is that? Who is the original Lokanath Goswami? Are you allowed to say? Manjari, associate of Radha and Krishna. Not bad, huh? From Germany to that side. Anything else you want to ask or say? Go on.
In Canto 1, Chapter 6, I think it was Krishna saying to Narad Muni that at the time of death he gives his mercy to devotees to remember him. So, Jag Bharat, why didn't Krishna give him mercy? Because at such an advanced stage. So why didn't he receive the mercy to remember him at the time of death?
The Bhagavad Gita is the philosophy. And in the Bhagavad Gita it says, whatever you think of at the time of death, that state you attain without fail. The Bhagavatam now gives you the Leela of that verse. It expands that verse by saying, you can take birth as a deer. All of the philosophical concepts presented in Bhagavad Gita are reproduced in the Bhagavatam, but through pastimes. So this is a pastime. Krishna is just showing. And his devotee didn't lose out at all. Jad Bharat didn't, he just spent another lifetime as a deer, that's all. So Krishna is expanding on that verse, whatever you think of at the time of death. So Tuesday, it seems now, is Nrsimhadev's appearance day, an important day. What should we pray for? I would like to ask you. Would anyone like to respond? What do you think is a suitable thing to pray for? And don't say something just to impress everyone. What do you really think is a suitable thing to pray for? Or what would you pray for on the Nrsimhadev?
Protection of our
To win the lotto number. No, not to win the lotto. What?
protection of our devotions, service, our spiritual lives, our bhakti.
To perfect our bhakti.
Protection.
Or protection of our bhakti.
And also for the protection of the spiritual master.
Protection of the spiritual master. And that is plural. Guru is plural. It's never singular. Prabhupada said the word guru is equally, quote, the word guru is equally applicable to Bhatma Pradakshika Guru, Diksha Guru, Siksha Guru. Equally applicable. If I had to ask you now, who is your Bhatma Pradakshika Guru? There's possibly one or two or three. Who first introduced you to Krishna consciousness? Would you know? And do you pray to them? Do you offer them obeisances every day in your mind? No, I've completely forgotten who they are. Who's your Bhatma Pradakshika Guru, Mr. Bhima?
Those two brothers in Orange Park, Joe and Ravi.
Oh,
You remember Joey?
yeah, Joey.
Joey, yes.
Metal box.
Joe, he was friends with Subal in high school. Yeah.
Who's your Vatma Pradakshina Guru?
I guess my parents.
Parents. Other nice people to worship.
My eldest brother.
Your eldest brother, Sri Govinda.
Yeah.
First one, there can be a second one, there can be a third one.
He was the first.
Mine was Prabhu Vishnu Maharaj. And then I went to the town hall, Janananda Maharaj. And the third one, Bhumidev. And the fourth one, Devananda, Devadama, who's in Australia. And the fifth one, Dhananjaya, the cousin of Chaitanya Maharaj. Then Shyamasundar, the original Shyamasundar. I'll give you a whole list. And then there was Narahari. And I offer my respects to them. If not every day, every other day. So, anyone else to pray to Lord Nrsimhadev to protect our devotional service? Very good. Protect the mission. This is why Prabhupada introduced the prayers. I'll explain this on Tuesday. That in 1970, apparently there was a bomb. It was a homemade explosive, referred to as a pipe bomb, that went off in the Los Angeles temple in 1970. No one was hurt, or was someone killed? No. It's a Prabhupada anecdote by Sasra Maharaj. And then Prabhupada introduced this prayer to Lord Nrsimhadev, which is interesting because in Occidental's mission, there wasn't emphasis on Nrsimhadev. And in Gaudiya Math, there's no emphasis on Nrsimhadev. Of course, they respect him, but not like in ISKCON, where we sing the prayers. Nrsimhadev. So please read something about Nrsimhadev. We'll read in the 7th canto. And we should pray to Lord Nrsimhadev to protect our bhakti. To protect our bhakti from what?
The influence of Maya.
Influence of Maya. Let's be more specific.
Of material nature.
Material and more specific. What particular emotions do we not want? Pride. Pride, good one. Dharma, pride. What else? Lust, anger, greed. Yes, these are the enemies. Lust, anger, greed, pride, madness, ignorance, arrogance. Arrogance. Oh, I'm initiated. You were initiated in the afternoon. I was initiated in the morning. I'm more advanced than you by 3 hours. Listen to what I have to say. Arrogance, pride. So we pray to Lord Nrsimhadev to protect us. But another nice prayer, which we should all have, is to protect this mission, because it's Prabhupada's mission, and to protect it so it can continue to expand. We have over 600 centers. 600 centers throughout the world. The Ishopanishad has been published in 64 languages. The Bhagavatam and the CC has been published in 20 languages. Things are really happening, and there are other Vaishnava organizations, Gaudiya Math, but nothing like on the level of ISKCON. I mean, in terms of preaching. So we want things to continue. Like in South Africa, we went from one temple to like 15 temples. From 4 or 5 initiated, or Prabhupada initiated 13, to now maybe 2,000 initiated devotees in South Africa. So we want to pray that ISKCON can remain intact, it can remain pure, etc. Anything else you'd like to add? All right, we'll hand it over to our MC. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Prabhupada Nandi Hare.